Hi everyone, my name is Sumaya Ahmed and I am the Virtual Content Specialist for 7th grade Science. This video is part 1 of 2 videos about Nearpod. In this video, I will review the general features of Nearpod and the benefits of using it in class. And in part 2 of this video, I will show how to create a lesson on Nearpod. So first, what is Nearpod? Simply put, it's a digital platform where educators can create interactive and collaborative lessons and presentations for students. The students access the lessons through a unique code, and the teacher moves the class as a whole or as student-paced through the lesson, and students interact with the media as they go. You can use Nearpod for so many different lesson resources. You can create a whole lesson which you can share to Google Classroom and other platforms. You can search for or include videos, formative assessments, gamified activities, and so much more. You can review all student responses to quizzes, open-ended responses, or drawings using their Draw It feature. You can teach the lesson in 3 ways. So there's live participation, where you control the slides and what students see on their screen. This is a great feature to make sure students complete all the slides and all their work and questions besides just skipping through each slide. However, an issue I have with live participation lessons is that some students finish faster than others, but you as a teacher, you can't have them move on because other students are still writing. So as soon as you switch the slide, that slide will not be available to any other student who did not finish. So that's something just to be mindful of. But great option for lessons, just be mindful of the varied pace for students. You can deliver a student-paced lesson where students will go through the slides on their own pace. This is great because as soon as students finish, they can move on. If they need more time, they can stay on that slide. So that's a student-paced option. And lastly, the front of class feature, where students don't need a device, rather interact more with each other and the teacher as the slides are projected on a screen. So that's if you don't want students on a device, or if you don't have a device, yet you can still use Nearpod and the resources available on Nearpod. You can convert your PowerPoints, Google Slides, PDFs, and video files, and you can upload them to Nearpod. And you can gain access to over 15,000 pre-made lessons, interactives, and more resources by Nearpod certified educators all across the country. So if you look at their pricing plan, you can get a free Silver Educators account, which will still grant you access to a lot of the resources, or you can advocate to your school administrators for school subscription, since this resource is exceptionally helpful for educators across all grade levels and disciplines. So moving on, now I will show you some features I have access to, and I have a school account, so I have access to any of the resources on Nearpod and unlimited amounts of lessons. So I'm already signed in. And if you can sign in, you can see this is the page for my lessons, and this has all the lessons you saved or created. You can also create folders to organize your lessons, which is great if you're teaching different grade levels and different topics. That way, if you want to reuse some of the Nearpods that you saved for the subsequent year, you can always go to the folder and access them, and it's more organized. So you can click on reports, which gives you reports from all the student responses from any lesson. So that's this tab right here. So for example, if you click on one, it will give you the reports for a few of all the work. So it will give you a summary, and it will show you the responses for the quiz, the responses for the poll, the responses for the open-ended questions, and the responses for the Draw It. So I'm not going to expand these because you can see the student names, but you could see the session data and the reports for all the students and the responses as they went through the Nearpod. So you can also have subplans. And you can just provide the code and the lesson will be ready for students. If you have a sub covering you for that day, I'm going to go back. And the next feature here is the school library. So here are all the lessons that were saved by members of our school community. And this is great because you can see what other teachers have been using, the types of Nearpods that other teachers have been using, and you can add them to your lessons. And next, you can check out the Nearpod library. So as you can see, they have some featured lessons here on multiple subjects such as racial injustice, mindfulness, holidays, and if you scroll down, they have videos on different subjects and different types of resources such as Khan Academy, the History Channel, Mosaic Science, Nova, and they have activities, they have lessons. So if you keep scrolling, they have it by publisher. So if there's a specific publisher that you like or something that goes with the curriculum, such as Amplify is a curriculum that we're using in our school, or BBC Worldwide. And they have all these lessons that are organized. So this is a lot, and if you're just browsing on things to use and just exploring, then this is something that you can explore with. But the best way to search for a lesson would be to use this search bar on the side, and you can search for a specific lesson by the resource type, standard, subject, and grade levels. So if I search for lessons, if I click lessons, and you can click align to NGSS, science, and grade 7. I have all these pre-made lessons that I can choose from. And you can narrow down the standards even more and the topic. But let's see what we can do with this one lesson, which I'm going to search for right now. And it's going to be called the Arctic Frozen Sea. And I'm choosing that specific one to show you because it has a lot of the features of Nearpod. Okay. So here, again, this is created by the Nearpod team and it has BBC World videos. So here you can see the preview. You can add to the lessons. You can share the preview with someone. You could look at the info. So if you click info, here is a short, just an overview of what the lesson will be about. So students will watch and inform in a BBC video to learn how Arctic environment affects the organisms living there. And then you could look at the preview. So let's preview this lesson. First slide, it shows an overview, some suggestions for teachers. And it says, materials and preparation before teaching the lesson. And this is for teachers. So when you assign this to your students, you may want to delete this slide. This is just for your reference. It has an essential question. it has the learning objectives. And these are those teacher preparation slides, essential question and learning objectives. Those are present for all the Nearpod resources. So it starts with a virtual field trip to the Arctic to spark student thinking. So as you can see, this is a virtual field trip. It's as great if students are using iPads, so they could like walk around. It's like they're walking around the area. And then there's a discussion question based on that. So what do you already know about the Arctic and or the organisms that live there? So this is a collaborative discussion board where students can share their thinking. And then we have what they'll do in today's lesson. And then before each activity, they have a preview of what it's going to be. So here's the background information, and this is a slideshow. So this slideshow is embedded within this Nearpod of organisms that live in the Arctic, followed by a drawing activity. So here, again, this is great if you have an iPad, so students can just draw it, but even if you don't have an iPad, you're using computer, students can draw images and add text boxes with this sign over here. They can add text boxes and type in it as well to submit this response. Next is a video. So it says let's watch, which means there's a video coming up about the Arctic frozen sea, and you can embed videos. You could change up the video. Again, if you add this lesson to my lessons, you can edit it any way you want, and you can change up the resources or add more resources or omit any of the resources. And that video is followed by a discussion and then a quiz. So you can embed quizzes in here, true or false questions, multiple choice questions. You can also embed open-ended questions into your quizzes, which is here. And this is the open-ended question. And students write their responses. So as you go, there's a class discussion, there's a let's write feature, more open-ended questions, a reflection question. It ends with a poll question, more poll questions, and that's it. Okay, so this was just one basic lesson, and those are just some of the features that you can embed in the Nearpod. So again, there are 3 ways that you can do the Nearpod. So that lesson that you just saw, you can have a live participation. So you flip through the slide and you control what students see on the screen. You can have it student paced, so students can go through the slide, or you can have it as a front of class where it's just one device and all the students are following along, or writing their answers somewhere else to the questions. So this lesson was just one example from the thousands of lessons already created on Nearpod. This lesson had a virtual reality experience, poll questions, open-ended questions, a collaborative discussion board, a slideshow, a video. And there are so many other interactive features which you can add or modify with Nearpod. So in part 2 of this video, I will show how to create your own lesson using all the Nearpod interactive lesson features. Thank you for watching.